Alright, so here's an update on what I got done so far. I started working on the other knuckle. I realized I took too much off the top, so I'm about to weld some material up so I can machine it back down on the press, or the drill press. But this one's mounted up temporarily, and it looks like it's pretty much at 90 degrees, give or take 1 or 2, but I can adjust that with the camber plate, or use a cam bolt to adjust for the camber. But so far everything's looking like it's gonna line up perfect. Everything's working well with each other. Here's the knuckle I took too much off of. I actually cut it, and I realized that I needed the top mount to get the angle I need, so I'm gonna actually build this area up and then build the top up so I can drill a new hole. So here's the time lapse of building it up. So after fucking around with the settings, finally got it to work a little bit. But I built that up. I milled this back down flat, and I'm gonna let it cool down before I build this section back up. So I used the steel sleeve to set in place and just piled the aluminum around it and was able to press it out. Actually worked out really well. Now I'll just come through, clean this up, and drill my new holes for the chuck. So I just welded the motor mount crossbar in to the K number. Kind of just making up names for this shit, but I'm gonna weld in one of these bent sections of tubing, and that'll be the motor mount. And I might brace it to the rear a little bit, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. And for this I used 1.5 inch 120 wall. Mild steel. Alright, we just got the motor mounts welded in. Here's a shot of them. And it's actually sitting under its own weight now. Got about a 1/2 inch clearance on the K member to the oil pan. I took the hubs back off, or the knuckles back off, so I can get those machined. And I actually picked up some S10 rotors and brake calipers. Here's a side shot of it. So the knuckles, or I'm sorry, the CV axles clear perfectly. I'm going to drop it all back down and TIG weld the mounts. The other thing I forgot to mention is I spaced the K member down 1 inch. Those are 2 1/2 inch thick by 2 inch wide aluminum bar stock that I cut down. I just need to make some for the rear there. But same on this side. Alright, so I'm working on the transmission for the drive angle, and based off where it's at right this second, we're showing 9 degrees down rear axle, I get 5.8, 5.9 degrees down. Yeah, 5.9, 5.8. So I have adjustable upper control arms that I haven't put in yet, but I'm sure that would allow me to push the pinion angle up the what, 2.5, 3 degrees to get my 9 degrees.
And I forgot to mention, the front end of the car is actually sitting up higher, so I'm actually just measuring the crankshaft and pinion angle relative to each other, not its actual measurement.
The driveline angle, or what it would look like so far. I just got the rebuild kit for the transfer case in today, so I'll start working on that once I get this all welded up and in place. But you're talking maybe a 3-foot span for a rear drive shaft, and then whatever the stock front drive shaft length is, I just need to figure out what yoke to use the front drive shaft, or if I have to get a different one, I don't know. So here's the S10 caliper and bracket. You can see where the mounting locations don't line up, but the width is there. And I actually just chopped this little nub off, little nipple that was sticking on the bracket. It was interfering right over here, so I chopped that off, and now I'm trying to see how I'm going to work this out.
Here's a time lapse. I had to shave down the mounting ears on the knuckle about 6 millimeters where the brake caliper bracket bolts up to. Another time lapse of fitting the caliper up to the assembly. I ended up having to just take a grinder and grind out 2 circular notches to fit the caliper. Here's the final fitment for the night. You can see where I had to grind out the 2 notches for the caliper. The next 2 photos are of how I plan on mounting the actual brake assembly to the knuckle. One of either 2 ways. You can see it outlined in red, but I'll work on that this week and make an updated video. Thanks for watching.